You won't believe what Kirby said. Yes, he said it about Gunner Stockton. It changes the entire team. Locked on Bulldogs.
You are Locked on Bulldogs, your daily podcast on the Georgia Bulldogs. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back. This is Locked on Bulldogs, part of the Locked on Podcast Network, your team every day. Let me welcome you all into the Smith Brothers. We are put into UGA royalty. You don't know it, by the way. Today's episode brought to you by Monarch Money, monarchmoney.com. More on them in a moment. Everydayers, first listeners, and loyal third segment all the way through. Glad you're here. These three gentlemen know more about UGA football than you have forgotten about your kid's last recital. I promise you, it's incredible what these guys do. It's incredible. We bring them in. Let me introduce you to D. Smith. I like this. This is Daniel Smith. This is John Smith. And this is M. Dubs, the illustrious executive producer that has been fired. He doesn't have a job right now, and it's fantastic. Welcome.
I actually say I call myself sometimes executive intern or intern executive producer because I'm never sure if I'm employed here or not.
And you know what? We're going to keep you on your toes the entire time. It's how we run this organization. It's how we run this business. Gentlemen, Kirby Smart comes out in a presser, talks about the Marshall game. And in it, I keep saying this, there's a notable tone difference between what Kirby says this year as it pertains to last year. Give me your big picture takeaways before we get into segment 2, where we talk about his comments on one Gunner Stockton and what he brings to the offense. Give me your big picture takeaways. What are UGA fans needing to understand about the difference between last year and this year already that you can tell?
I mean, it's pretty obvious, right? Like Gunner Stockton can actually use his legs. I mean, we have a quarterback who, when your pass protection, which we won't get into at the moment, is a little bit, suspect.
Yep. Suspect all the way through, but not anymore.
I think we're gonna talk about Gunner Stockton a lot in the next segment. I've got two things I'll say on this. Number one, do you know what a run crease is? Do you know what happens when that offensive line gets the push and that pocket opens and you see grass in front of the running back? Oh my God. Like last year, where was that? And I know we played Marshall, and we got to stop saying that because that's going to be the caveat until we play somebody else, right? But last Saturday, so much grass in front of those running backs. Unbelievable the way that offensive line opened up the run. And then the second thing I would say, you guys did yesterday, numbers, right? What are significant numbers for this team? I've got a number. It's 11. You know what 11 is? It's 7 plus 4. When you watch Lawson Lucky and Oscar Delp on the ends of that offensive line, watching those guys block on Saturday, it was incredible. Incredible. Like, I just wanted to zoom in. Can I just get a close up of those guys picking up blocks? Just incredible. Keep them on the field, run the 12 personnel, run the damn 13 personnel, get another guy out there if they're going to block like that.
Before we get to you, Daniel, I do want to say this because it was really interesting to me. The first tight end that I noticed in the game was Barber. He came in and it sounds like from camp, and it sounds like what my eyeballs told me is this cat can block real well. And he was coming down, a couple motion things that he was able to do. And I think he gives that offense a little bit of stability. But you talk about how big Lawson Lucky and Oscar Delp are on the edges. They are more of the inline reach block, where I think Barber's moving around mismatch blocking in this offense, which is kind of incredible. So yes, to your point, 13, 12, I don't care what personnel, put a tight end in. We're going to be just fine. It's going to be glorious. Daniel, what did you see from this team in Marshall game that told you it was something different from last year?
Yeah, it's obviously Gunner, but Zachariah Branch is a guy you're going to hear every weekend, every single weekend. He can catch the ball. He can move in space. He can outrun your best defender. You're going to hear him all week. I will say I love Gunner Stockton. Everybody loves Gunner Stockton. But I will also say that Kirby looks at that box score, and he does – I don't know if he likes Gunner Stockton being the leading rusher every week. I don't think he likes that. That looks good. It sounds good. And not to be a Daniel Downer. But I don't think, we rush for a lot of yards. We rushed for more yards in game 1 than we have in since 2019. We ran for almost 240 yards, and Gunner Stockton was our leading rusher. And Kirby don't like that, but we love it. We love to see it because we love that mobility. That he's not a Stetson Bennett because he's bigger, he's stronger, he's a bully. And Stetson's more of a make you miss kind of guy. He's quick-footed, but Gunner just run you straight over and make you like it. And we loved it.
I was eyes wide open when he was seeking contact. And I think what's really wild, Georgia fans are going to say, slide, Gunner, slide. He doesn't know how to. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's literally. You can teach him. Literally, the guy is he likes the contact. He's a football player that's playing quarterback. You know what I'm saying? He's not a quarterback playing football. It's wildly different what he's able to do. And I completely agree. You said Zachariah Branch. It's really wild to me that all of a sudden on a down and distance that many fans have grown accustomed to yelling at Bobo for running a screen into the boundary.
Preach.
He ran a screen to the back, except this time we have a cat who is blazing fast and no one touches. It changes things all of a sudden when you can execute it, guys.
And Matt, what'd you say? Hold on, you said execution. So maybe it's not the play call. Maybe it's
breaking new ground. Breaking news. This is breaking news to many Georgia fans that when players actually execute plays, it doesn't matter if it's a screen behind the line of scrimmage. You can take it to the house when you have players who can actually execute. One note about Zachariah Branch, by the way, that 47-yard touchdown on that screen was the longest reception of his career. That includes 2 years at USC and this one game at Georgia.
That can't be
the
right.
longest of his career. I mean,
he was under an offensive genius at USC.
Offensive genius. So Mike Bobo figured out a way to get Zachariah Branch his longest reception of his entire career in one game when he couldn't do it in 2 years under Lincoln Riley. So,
guys, that's phenomenal to me. The USC Trojans, by the way, before you do what everybody else is doing and you're saying, but it was Marshall, it was somebody, okay. Just the USC Trojans, Minnesota, not that great, by the way. USC lost. Maryland, not that great. Nebraska last year, come on, people. Let's be real. Utah State, how about that one? Is that one any good? I mean, they have teams on their schedule where Zachariah Branch could have done something like this and didn't get it done. The speed on offense, and this is the last question I have for you, talking about difference, and it seems like this is a very saturated difference on execution of players. And this thing that shocked me right out of the gate, Dwight Phillips getting a boatload of carries, and I called it subtle shifty. His ability to quickly and quietly move his body, not huge, drastic changes, just little movements in his hips. Kirby said in the presser today, they said, what does he have to do? And Kirby said, weight room. He got here. We said, weight room. Just get bigger, get stronger, hold on the ball. Guys, he's bigger and stronger than last year's end-around game. Our running back room's a problem, like a big problem for SEC defenses. What did you see about the running back room that excited you?
Yeah, Nate Frazier didn't even get going. Like, he didn't even get warmed up, did he? Like, he didn't even – I mean, he went out there and did the pregame stretches, and I think he ran for like 40-something yards, and I was like, okay, that's a day. That's good. We're good.
There were no lathers on Saturday. Nobody got into a lather, but it was consistent execution. Hey, in fact, I watched a little bit of the Film Guy. Shout out Brooks Austin. Worth a watch if you want to go watch his breakdown of the Marshall game. One thing he pointed out was there were a couple of missed opportunities in the run game where the running back broke inside, and had he just stepped left and broken outside, it could have been another 40, 50-yard run, could have gone to the house. So I think there's still tons of opportunity, but unbelievable the production in game one versus last year.
It was absolutely ridiculous what they were able to do. By the way, we're going to come on back. I'm going to ask these guys a statement that Kirby Smart said about Gunner Stockton, and it was kind of insane to me at the time, but actually looking back on it, it seems to be that he is dead on with it. I'm going to ask these guys their perception of that, but first, these. And these are, in fact, Mazda. Right now, Mazda is fantastic in the crafting cars for those who choose to do more than simply move. They follow what moves them every drive. That's what makes Mazda stand out. They go beyond safety, style, performance, deliver driving experience that feels alive in every single detail. You can feel the moment you get behind the wheel, smooth handling, intuitive controls, standard all-wheel drive in every crossover SUV. It's the small details that make big plays. Is Kirby writing this ad? And just like that, there's more to every player. There's more to every Mazda vehicle. Mazda, move and be moved. We're back with Daniel, John, and Michael Smith. Before we get going, before I ask you what Kirby was asked in the press conference and what he gave as his answer, want to let these guys able to tell you a little bit. John, maybe people recognize you, maybe the royalty that I was talking about of the Smith brothers. John, what are you up to and what do you do and where can people find you?
Well, right now I'm in between two mustaches. That's what we're gonna call this show. In between two stashes.
We got you cornered, bro.
No, you can find me. I'm actually I'm building the Bulldog Bourbon Social Club, so you guys come join. You can join for free. It's pretty awesome. We do a lot of fun stuff, have a lot of cool swag, and working on a similar idea for Speakeasy Sports. So go follow those. And listen, at the end of the day, I one thing you should know about me at John Tweet Sports is I apologize for nothing. So,
and if you've known John his whole life, you know, he has never apologized.
He has never. There is still trauma to this day that John could apologize for, and my life will be exponentially on a trajectory that I just cannot. I mean, I could not fathom.
Okay.
Daniel,
Now
Daniel, write those things down and mail them to me. Don't send them to John. He'll just.
We can publicly shame him later. This is so good, guys. Kirby Smart was asked in a press conference about, the question was about mobile quarterbacks. And I've long since said this, and I think we all can agree. The idea of a dual threat quarterback is an archaic term that needs to be ridding of itself. He said in the press conference, when asked about the difference Gunner Stockton makes, he said that the high school game and what they're producing feeds up to college and college feeds up to pros. So when pros come down, they're asking Kirby Smart and company, what are you seeing that in 3-4 years will be the new trend in the NFL? Kirby Smart's doing the same to the high school ranks. What are you seeing and doing that's going to translate to the college ranks in 2 or 3 years to be the trend? And the trend is this. If you can't play running back, he gave the analogy running back 15, 20 years ago. A lot of these guys were playing running back 15, 20 years ago are now playing quarterback, meaning you have to have exactly what Gunner Stockton, what we've been saying so far, you have to have what Gunner Stockton has, which is not only speed, but also size and bullying ability to get up into an angle, into a crease, into that green. Gentlemen, Kirby sounds all of a sudden very trendy with his quarterback talk. And all of a sudden he sounds very, I had one person say Georgia used to be, or was 3 yards in a cloud of dust. And I said, you haven't watched a lick of Georgia ball, have you? And they haven't, because this is a new quote unquote Kirby to some people. Talk to me about, is he ludicrous for saying if you don't have a Gunner Stockton, you can't compete in college football? That's the translation. This is the trend that's coming. Give me your take on what he said in the press conference.
I mean, I'll go first, guys. We saw it. You saw it last year. Will Howard won a national championship with Ohio State. And yes, Ohio State had Jeremiah Smith, and yes, Ohio State had Travion Henderson. You know, they had dudes everywhere. But one of the reasons that Ohio State had so much success on offense, especially when they got in the playoffs, is Will Howard's ability on RPOs to actually pull the ball on a read pass option, to actually like on a run pass option to actually like pull the ball and run it instead of handing it off, instead of like throwing out, a little out route, etc. Like, the defense crashes on the running back, and Will Howard was pulling it and getting Ohio State key yards and key opportunities throughout the playoffs last year. And I think that's what Kirby is speaking to, is like, when you look at, Georgia has historically had, even, Carson Beck is a great example, right? You look at Carson Beck, for all of his strengths, the guy was never pulling the ball on an RPO. Like, he was handing it off, or he was throwing a quick out route. He was never pulling it and making the defense actually care about his ability to run the ball. And I think, if you go back to Stetson Bennett, part of the reason that Georgia had success with Stetson Bennett quarterback is because that guy was not afraid to pull the ball and run with it. And I think that's what you see. That's what you're seeing in high school. You've seen it for a long time. High school, they used to run just the straight up option, right? And now you're seeing high school run a lot of these RPOs, and you're seeing these guys that if they have size, if they have a little bit of speed, a little bit of durability to be able to pull the ball and take some hits from time to time, those are the types of quarterbacks that are continuing to have success. And it's been that way, I would say since 2021, when Jordan won it with Stetson Bennett. It's like, it's been that way the last few years.
Yeah, the other thing is a guy that can make that that has that athleticism and decision making in the moment can cover a multitude of sins for your offensive line. You make a bad read, you miss, a hidden linebacker or something like that. I saw one play this past game where Drew Bobo picked up a block and he picked up the wrong block. He went left. He should have stayed straight. Linebacker comes around from behind. Gunner's ability to pull and pivot and get free kept that play alive. And I think that's just true. I mean, it's a lot easier to have that safety net than to have 5 guys play perfectly every down, right? And so ideally we want an offensive line that's invincible, but realistically you're going to have those slip ups. You're going to have guys make poor decisions in the moment. So having a guy who can cover that up and keep a play alive is just invaluable.
I don't know if you guys have seen in the NFL how Patrick Mahomes plays, how Josh Allen plays, how Jalen Hurts plays,
Lamar Jackson.
I don't know if you've seen how some of these, how when you look at the top quarterbacks in the NFL, those lists, it's a lot of them are playing football like Gunner Stockton plays football.
Yeah, I love what you said there, the safety net. When you have a quarterback that can literally do anything that you ask him to do and make those decisions in the moment, that will terrorize a defense. Now, back when we played in high school, we had dudes that weighed $170 trying to run the wing, trying to run the option. And that's not.
You don't have to remind me that I weighed $170 in high school.
I think it was me. But again, back, when Kirby played, pocket passers, dudes just hung in the pocket. And if you just got drilled, you just got drilled. And a lot of that is just from what what you're used to. And I think if Stetson Bennett had the size that Gunner Stockton had, he may have never made it to Georgia. He may have won a national championship somewhere else. Mm-hmm. But I think JT Daniels getting hurt, Stetson Bennett coming in there and showing that, size is important. But the dude was, obviously he had intangibles that nobody knew about till he was in the moment. But now you've got a dude who's got the size. He's not scared. We talked a minute ago about Gunner doesn't know how to slide. That is so my daughter plays softball, and that's one of the things that they're teaching them to do is how to slide. And when you said he doesn't know how to slide, I'm like, that is a 10-year-old, 11-year-old softball team. Like he just doesn't know how because he just doesn't do it. So
to him, it's losing, it's quitting, it's taking a step
giving up
back.
on the play. Yeah,
he's giving up on the play. He doesn't give up. It's quite remarkable what he's able to do. A quick note as we finish, Kirby Smart went on to say to the reporter that asked the question, well, it depends on what you mean. How much of the time is it 40% run, 60% pass, 6% run? Because if you're just running all the time, then I'm not really scared of you because then I could take away I could take away a part of your offense. What he said by that is, I'm not going to have quarterbacks that are one-dimensional. I'm not going to have quarterbacks that limit my offense. You will need to do both. And if you can't do both, I don't want you in my system. Which brings me to my last thing before we transition on. And this is the standard stance of Locked On Bulldogs and Locked On podcasts everywhere. If your favorite quarterback is currently the backup quarterback at Georgia, I want you to give me all your paraphernalia and go root for Auburn. Please, dear goodness. I'm glad Ryan Puglisi is on this team. Trust me, we had him on the show last year. He's a dude. I'm really high on Ryan Puglisi, but I want the quarterback that Mike Bobo and Kirby Smart chose to lead this team, period. It's going to be our stance until the end of time, just so you all know. Ryan Puglisi, glad you're here. Love you, dude. Love you, mean it. And I'm not. but Gunner Stockton's a dude, and I'm here for it. We may need Puglisi for a couple of plays here and there because Gunner doesn't know how to slide. But y'all, Gunner's going to be the one. It's ride or die with him. We're going to come back on this. I'm going to ask them about defense. But first, these. And these are, in fact, FanDuel. NFL season is almost here. FanDuel is making sure you're ready for kickoff with a can't-miss offer. Right now, customers can bet just $5. Your bet wins. You get $300 in bonus bets used across the app. It makes games exciting. You get into it. Whether your team is playing or not, you can get into it and keep your eye on the fantasy lineup. So you ready to play? Download the FanDuel app by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. But that's not all. Monarch Money is here. Monarch Money is fantastic, and I don't know, these gentlemen can attest, their money evaporates because they have families, and it's just gone the second they make it. How do I know? Well, families do that. Whether you're trying to invest in the future and build your portfolio, 401k, properties, investments, Monarch Money is here, all in one personal finance tool. It's built for people with busy lives, organization, and those who can link their accounts with other people in their family. Clear data visuals, smart categorization on spending. We can identify how much we want to save, set a goal, and Monarch Money is going to help us get there for our kids' college or for that vacation we're planning. Don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use promo code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year. monarchmoney.com with code LOCKEDONCollege. Gentlemen, I'm going to ask about the defense now. The offense was something different. Oh, that is a fantastic sweatshirt, and everything about it is glorious. That's the OG sweatshirt. It's the third segment. We about to get off the rails in a hurry, and that sweatshirt is indicative of that. Talking Bulldogs was a thing way back when. Let's now talk about the defense. Gentlemen, I saw lots of things that really made me excited, but I want to cede the floor to you. What did you see in this defense that really got you excited from Marshall that we should be looking forward to continue the whole rest of the year, specifically on the defensive side?
I'll go first again.
Lead us.
Guys, the Georgia defense. Okay, you don't learn. Kirby Smart had a quote where he said, there's not much that you learn when you play a team that's overmatched. Marshall was overmatched. That offense was not ready for this Georgia defense. This Georgia defense is deep, y'all. We were out there starting Kyron Jones at safety. Dalen Everett didn't even play. You had Chris Jones playing edge and like moving like ridiculously athletic out there. You had, just guys coming in, guys upon guys upon guys, and this is the most athletic defense. And I say this as somebody who Daniel Monroe is not here today, but he can attest that I am one of the most nervous. Me and Daniel are two of the more nervous Georgia fans. I do not say things like this lightly. This is the most athletic defense that Georgia's put on the field since that 2021 defense. And it's not as experienced, but it is athletic. There are dudes at every position, and it goes deep. And I think one of the things that Georgians have been missing is that, kind of like the second guy was pretty good the last couple of years, but you're missing like that third guy in the depth chart being a dude, right? And Georgia, through recruiting and development and Scott Sinclair's school of strength over there in Athens, there are dudes all over this field. And that's the thing that stood out to me the most, was just guys that I think, we didn't expect to talk a lot about or think a lot about, got out there and you're like, holy cow, that dude can move. That's a big dude that can play this position, that can move. And I think that really, really stood out to me.
John, do you remember we went to humble brag here? We went to a practice a few weeks ago. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that they pass out when you go to the practice is the roster. Okay. Mm-hmm. Gives you the dudes, their numbers, alphabetical order, whatever. And John and I are watching this practice, and we are seeing dudes flying around, mm-hmm. and we are like picking up our notes. Like, who was that? Who was that guy? Who was that guy? Like, because some of those guys we don't know much about, and we didn't recognize them by number because they're so, at this point of the game, unknown. Yeah. but that is what these Georgia fans are doing this weekend. They are Googling these, they're watching the film or rewatching it, and they are Googling these dudes, and they're like, okay, who is this guy? Who is this number whatever dude stood out to you? But what I loved to see, one of my favorite things about a defense is I love to see a safety that is a freaking headhunter. And you are going to see that in KJ Bolden. We already knew the dude was multi-talented. We already knew how fast he was and how unafraid he is. But he is just one of those. He is everywhere. Every time you see a pile, every time you see a helmet smack somebody, it's like, okay, that's probably KJ. KJ's probably he's in there somewhere. He's got to be. And that's that. I mean, you can talk about the CJ Allens and all that, and not to overshadow those dudes, because those dudes down in the trenches on that D line. But KJ Bolden, man, he's going to be the top safety by the time this year is over.
I think so as well. I play with a kid who, if you were around the pile and you weren't actively tackling somebody else, this safety would fly. He was 6'3", 215, and he would come flying, and you went down. If you had an opposing jersey and you were standing around the pile, it was bad news for you. And I would hear the rush of wind as he would go past me and absolutely annihilate somebody. And that's KJ Bolden.
Somebody told KJ in Pee Wee football, just go hit somebody. And like, that stuck in his brain.
That's all I got to do? Oh.
That's all I just stay back here and hit somebody? Good.
Check. Ball ain't heavy. Okay. M-Dubs, what has stood out to you about this defense?
I'm just going to underscore the depth. I had my roster up from the very helpful Dog Bourbon Social Club or Bulldog Bourbon Social Club with the roster and the game day guide. Shout out to that. Do that every week, John. That was elite. But I had my roster up, and I just was constantly referencing, wait, who's that guy? Wait, who's that? Who's that number? Who's that number? I looked up, I think almost 20 guys, maybe 20 guys registered solo tackles in that game. 20 different guys. That's unbelievable. So now none of those were sacks. None of those were there were some tackles for loss, but
I don't.
Sack is
overrated statistic ever. Just so we're fully aware. Kirby said this in the presser as well. Somebody asked him about, hey, did it suck giving up the shutout and putting up points? And Kirby said, let me translate Kirbinese. No, it didn't, because I'm playing more guys. And then he took a shot at last year's team a little bit. He said, last year we didn't get to do that. This year we're already seeing the depth of the guys. Because then he went on to, I'd rather him give up a touchdown against Marshall than him give up a touchdown next year in the SEC championship game. Print it. It was when he said that, I was like, end it now. No more questions. Walk off the stage, Kirby. Like, we're done. And that's what we're seeing in this defense. We're seeing in such a great ways. By the way, Gabe Harris, I apologize. I didn't talk about you enough in the offseason, and that's on me. CJ Allen, I thought you couldn't cover space. I apologize, because you evaporate all the space between you and a ball carrier quicker than a duck on a June bug. And I haven't seen that from you at Georgia. I see it now. Like, this defense, John, I said the season began, I said, this might be 21-22 level, and people laughed at me. And I said, hold on to your butts, because the talent is there. The hunger is there. The fire, passion, energy is there. We're here. Y'all, this defense is different.
And when you play games to start the year, people can talk about cupcakes or whatever, but when you have dudes like that and you can play 38 of them on the defensive side of the ball in game one, and then you're going to turn around in Austin versus Austin P and you're going to play another 38 of them probably, and then by the time you get to Tennessee, now all of a sudden you have 38 dudes on defense who have had live game reps. I'm telling you, man, like it's just different. And I think what Kirby was saying in some regard is last year you opened with Clemson, which is, again, like, I'm not a proponent. I want Georgia to play all the good teams, play all the Power 4 teams, play all the, Oregon in 2022. I would love, come out and play a ranked team and beat them, like a drum. Would love that. But there is something to be said about having 54% of your roster being second year or under, and you have two games where you can get 38 guys rotated in on defense and get live game snaps.
Man, and that mentality, that quote from that presser, I mean, that's the Kirby Smart eliteness. Just the way the man thinks. I would love, we should play a game of like, who said it. So that quote of I'd rather guys miss tackles in this game than miss tackles in the SEC championship versus I don't know, other coaches that maybe said things like, did I say that? Is that something that I said?
Are we talking about this week or last week?
Or last week? Did I? I don't know what you're referencing. I thought we had a pretty good week.
Also, just to kind of piggyback off what John said there about the 38 dudes getting reps, like Kirby is not just putting guys out there just to say, "Hey, good job, you played." Because go back a few weeks ago to that practice, and John, I don't know how many times I heard Kirby on, because he dialed it down a lot, but I don't know how many times Kirby Smart would yell on that mic, "Get his ass out!" Body language. I mean, he is just like, dude, if you don't come with the right attitude, you will not play. So this isn't rec league ball where mommies and daddies get to see their babies out there running around the first. No. It's not the thing. Get his ass out. That's what he said.
The presser, when he was asked, how do you incentivize people, Kirby, to continue coming to Georgia and playing? And he said, I don't understand your question. Could you say other words? Because we don't incentivize guys here. I can't. What we do is we work the character either out of them to expose it or into them. And guys will want to play because it's the right thing to do. And if you don't want to, you're not going to be here at Georgia.
He said that's DNA. That's DNA.
DNA traits. The exact quote was, "We're not going to give you more NIL because you ran to the ball."
Oh no,
that's not what we do. Like that was he talked about DNA traits. And he said we're not incentivized. I don't understand that. Like either you're motivated to do what you're out there to do, or you're not. We're not gonna give you more NIL because you run to the ball.
Everybody, these are the Smith brothers. Tell them where they can find y'all one more time. Over on the Twitter machine, over on the X and Bourbon Social Club. Where can they find you? Daniel Smith, where can they find you?
Dawgs_forever. That's my handle. My favorite thing is just loving Georgia football and just absolutely giving opposing fan bases hell.
That's true. He does. John, where can the people find you?
At John Tweet Sports, at Dawgs Social Club. Y'all come hang out. We have a good time.
We're a part of that. By the way, Daniel and I are part of it. We love that plus, and we're all about it 100%. M-Dubs, where can the people find you?
They can find me in Athens, Georgia on October 18th. To see the Ole Miss game. They can find me on Twitter at Hey Michael Smith, but honestly, follow these two guys. They're a lot more entertaining, and I just like to ride along.
This has been Locked On Bulldogs, part of Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. We'll see you guys next time.